Well, I think this race provides you the reason as to why Auto Club should not be turned into a short track. What's up, guys? It's me on. I'm back. Yeah, still dealing with a nasal congestion. It'll go away in time. But I am back with my NASCAR Cup Series Auto Club race review. And yes, this will be up tonight. If you didn't see the Xfinity Series race review, go check that out. I wasn't able to upload that until today because of internet issues last night, but it's up now. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's get into the Cup Series race review because my God, that was a wild race. The whole weekend was wild from start to finish for the Cup Series. So it all starts Friday night. Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Bubba Wallace, and BJ McLeod all failed inspection twice. Everybody with the exception of Wallace lost their car chiefs for the race. Wallace lost an engineer. Pockris explained that that's up to NASCAR's discretion as to who gets ejected, depending on the circumstances and what it was that the car failed in during tech. So there's that. Kurt Busch failed 3 times, meaning that he would not be able to post a qualifying time. He would lose one of his crew members, and he'd have to do a pass-through on the first lap of the race. Big F's in the chat. Practice begins, and I didn't get to see practice because I was at work, but I caught up on it afterward. Oh my God. A bunch of drivers having issues. Harvick gets in the wall. Chastain wrecked hard. Buescher spun. Wallace had to go to the garage to get something fixed, which meant that he wouldn't be able to qualify. That rule was also brought up for Jeffrey Earnhardt during Xfinity Series yesterday, so it happens. That feels like kind of a new thing, but it is what it is. Almirola spun, Keselowski spun, Byron spun, Logano got into the wall all during qualifying, and Elliott, the last guy to go in qualifying in the second round, because the top 10 in the first round of qualifying, go again to see who gets the pole. Elliott would spin, and that would confirm Austin Cindric as the winner, as your pole winner, with Erik Jones starting on the front row with him. That feels weird to say, where you have the guy that just won the Daytona 500 and is a Cup rookie starting on the front row with Erik Jones running for petty GMS. Like, that's just insane to me. And Cindric, it was noted that he is the first Daytona 500 champion to get the pole at the next race since Joey Logano did it in 2015. And had he won, he didn't, but had he won today, he would have become the first driver to win back-to-back races to open the season since Matt Kenseth did it in 2009. The irony of that being, Kenseth was in the booth today for the race, and we also got an appearance from Mark Martin during the race up in the booth as well. That was nice. Harvick's team ended up repairing the car so he would not have to go to a backup car, and the way they saw it was that it would be better to fix the primary car and use parts from the backup car instead of just going straight to the backup car, because there's a lot of things that they'd have to fix in the backup car to get it set, and it just wasn't worth it, especially because they'll probably need that for next week or whatever. Kyle Busch, it was thought he might start at the rear because his car got work done on it, but he had to have a transaxle replaced, but NASCAR deemed it as an approved adjustment, so he would not be starting at the rear of the race. And officially, Chastain, Justin Haley, who had to have an oil cooler changed, Harvick, Keselowski, Logano, Wallace, all starting at the back, along with Kurt Busch, who had to start, who, again, failed tech 3 times. And then Kyle Larson would be sent to the back as well for unapproved adjustments. A dash issue came up before the race. That had to be fixed. And so, unapproved adjustment, he starts at the back. NASCAR also announced that if a driver spins or tags the wall and has flat tires, they have the option to stay in the car and be towed back to pit road for service. The downside of that being, of course, that takes time and they would lose a few laps. And we saw this numerous times during the race. But with the amount of cautions we had, and actually yesterday's Xfinity race broke the record for cautions in a single race at Auto Club. Although you could argue that the 2 stage cautions should have been taken out of that. For Cup, they actually tied the Cup record for cautions at Auto Club as well. So, yeah. But anyway, we get the race going. Kyle Busch spins early off in turn 2, and that around lap 15 or so, that would end up being the competition caution, which was going to be at lap 20, for NASCAR to look at tire wear and things like that. Cody Ware reportedly had a throttle issue. He would hold on for as long as he can. I believe he finished the race too, despite the issues with the car. Elliott gets in the wall in turn 4 while leading the race, and potentially had a tire go down, and then Kyle Busch would also have an issue. He would pit, and then Elliott would spin coming off turn 2, kind of at about the same spot that Kyle Busch had spun in before, with Elliott reporting that he broke something in the car. Tyler Reddick, who was leading for a good part of the race, overall, he said he was reporting that there might be something wrong with the seat in his car, saying that his left leg is going numb. This is apparently not the first time this has happened to him before. It happened to him back in 2015 in a truck race, and apparently he actually ended up winning it. But the issue that came up out of that was he was in too tight on the seat, and he was losing circulation to his leg, I think because of the belts or something, which would end up getting dealt with. But that happened, and also the Toyotas were shit today. Christopher Bell with overheating issues. Kyle Busch had to pit for that, I believe. Wallace had overheating issues. Like, everybody on the Toyota teams had some sort of overheating issue. And somebody actually mentioned, I wish I had it on hand at the moment. But somebody on Twitter mentioned that there's a difference in, I think, a backplate or something like that Toyota runs compared to Ford, or compared to the Fords and the Chevys. And I think he explained how that would affect it. I would have to pull the tweet up at the moment, but I don't have that on hand at the moment. But anyway, Austin Dillon gets bopped for speeding here. Daniel Hemric would end up having a shifter issue. His team would have to look for something to fix it. They would fix it, but he would fall several laps down. We'll get back to him in a little while. Cody Ware off the track at one point. Reddick apparently then had a radio issue come up. And then Truex Jr., he touched the wall a little bit at one point, later on in stage 1. Cindric barely avoided hitting him, but did touch Larson, and almost wrecked him. It was crazy how none of the three of them wrecked, especially Larson. Like, he managed to fucking save it somehow. And then we get a caution come out for Josh Bilicki. He spins, gets stuck in the grass, has to get pushed out. I think he ended up getting towed back or something like that, because he did stay in the race. Cody Ware returns to the race. Kurt Busch gets bopped for speeding. Harvick would stay out at first, but then pit afterward. McDowell, late in stage 1, might have scraped the wall. And Tyler Reddick wins stage 1. Erik Jones 2nd, William Byron 3rd, Chase Briscoe 4th, Kyle Larson 5th, Alex Bowman 6th, Joey Logano 7th, Ryan Blaney 8th, Austin Cindric 9th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 10th. The crazy thing about this race was the amount of parity that we saw. We saw a bunch of different leaders, which that's huge, and especially because the fact that it's hard to really tell if there's any dirty air problems like there used to be. Thank God with this next-gen car. Reddick led for a lot of the race. Erik Jones led a bunch. Chase Briscoe led a bunch. Daniel Suarez somehow got up. He tried to pull an Anthony Alfredo in a way, being that underdog to get up towards the front late in the going, and did somehow. It looked like he had a shot. Stenhouse Jr. ran in the top 10 for much of the day. There was a lot of different guys that were up there that you wouldn't really think would be up there, but they were, which is nice. Reddick's team would give him ibuprofen under the caution to help with the issue of his leg numbing up. Also told him to adjust the belts to get circulation, a la the last time it happened to him. And then Todd Gilliland lost a wheel on track during the caution. I don't know how, but he did. And, of course, as we saw from Justin Haley's team and from Kaz Grala's team last week, that's a 4-race suspension for your crew chief and I think 2 other people on your team. Although for Haley and colleague, they have appealed it. I think on the basis that if you watch what happened to his wheel back, the tire came off. The wheel was still there, the tire came off, and something might have broke or whatever. And the suspensions have been deferred until that appealing has been ruled upon. So we'll have to see what happens with Gillen. I would expect probably going to be something where, same penalty, all that stuff, which feels a little bit harsh considering that everybody's getting used to the one lug nut wheel And we're seeing all of these issues with the wheels themselves, specifically when you have flat tires. But we'll see what NASCAR does. Of course, they are aware of the issue with the flat tires and all that stuff, and they're trying to figure something out for that. Then we get into stage 2. Cindric potentially touched the wall at one point. Kyle Busch had a left rear tire go down. Race remains green. Denny Hamlin comes down pit road with overheating issues, and as he does, Christopher Bell spins off turn 4. Caution comes out. Almirola got into the wall a little bit just as Bell spun in front of him because Almirola had nowhere to go. Hamlin would have an extended pit stop to clean out the ducts on his car, air ducts that is, and he got a too many men over the wall penalty, but that's besides the point. Bell would get towed back to pit road, as I mentioned before. NASCAR had announced that, but of course he lost like 4 laps and then some, which sucks because, you should be able to drive the car back, but because of how low the cars are to the ground and the tire issues, it's like if you get stuck in the grass, you're fucked. So that's why NASCAR is doing this, rather than if a car can be driven back or brought back or whatever, having to have them go on a flatbed and end your day. So we get the restart. Cars go into turns 1 and 2, and some of them go 5 wide, like the 5 wide salute we saw during pre-race, or before the green flag. But all the cars make it through. Bowman gets into the back of Cindric. Bell would come back out, run a lap, and then he'd go to the garage. His day was done. We get a caution come out for Chris Buescher. He spins and put it up against the wall. Says he blew a tire on entry. His day would end up being done after that. It didn't look as bad with the damage, but again, there's a lot of parts in there that everybody's getting used to, and depending on how you hit the wall, that can affect it and things like that. It's all a learning curve. Again, sorry, nasal congestion. I apologize. But anyway, Briscoe who was up near the front or leading at this point. He ended up having a slow pit stop. Byron's team had issues getting the left front tire off. Bubba Wallace and his team had his hood up on pit road, but he headed back out. And then we get another caution practically on the first lap after the restart. This time for Brad Keselowski spinning into the grass in turn 4 off to the front stretch. Hamlin, Logano, and Almirola almost all got caught up in it, but didn't, thank God. Although it looked like when Keselowski slid up right before he spun, it looks like he may have gotten a little bit of contact from Logano. Regardless, we get to the end of stage 2, and Tyler Reddick sweeps the stages. Big for him. Erik Jones 2nd, Logano 3rd, Blaney 4th, Larson 5th, Custer 6th, Cindric 7th, Almirola 8th, Byron 9th, and Hamlin in 10th. Larson had some issues on pit road. Almirola with a save early in stage 3, causing him to come down pit road, because he pretty much spun off 4. LaJoy would be on pit road at one point, and then he got a speeding penalty after that. And then Josh Bilicki had a left rear tire go out, but no caution. He makes it to pit road. Then a little bit later, leader Tyler Reddick suffers a flat tire, and he's up near the wall, because that's where a lot of these guys have been running all throughout the day. Byron comes by and off turn 2, and I don't know if he was trying to catch it or what the fuck happened, but he makes contact with the driver's side of Reddick's car, and then Byron gets in the wall. Reddick also gets in the wall in the process, and the caution would come out for that. He was able to drive the car back, but then he would have to come back around again, and Denny Hamlin got a speeding penalty here as well. But Reddick had a tow link out in the rear of his car. They had to get that fixed. Actually, the previous, not this caution, but the one before, the Keselowski one, I think that was a few laps after the restart, now that I think about it, because the next caution we got, which also involved Keselowski, was practically 1 lap after the restart. Not that one. But, this case, Keselowski, Bubba Wallace, Harrison Burton, and Austin Cindric all involved in a wreck on the backstretch. Brad came down off turn 2. Wallace held his line. Brad got, touched in the left rear, got turned. Cindric was behind them. He didn't really have much of anywhere to go, but it didn't look like he got a ton of damage. And then Burton hit the right front side above his car as he spun. Wallace tells his team to let Brad know he apologizes for it, saying he'd been fighting the nose of the car all day, kind of like how I've been fighting this nasal congestion. And Keselowski got towed back, obviously to lose some laps. And then Daniel Hemric, who at one point was at 7 laps down due to that shifter issue I mentioned earlier, he ends up getting back on the lead lap here, which is crazy. So we get going again. Custer made a late decision to get on pit road. I don't believe he got penalized for it. I didn't see anything on that. Cindric had his hood up on pit road. Burton's day is done. Logano reportedly having issues with his clutch going into the next restart. And then we get another caution for a spinning Ross Chastain, who had a flat. He got towed to pit road. And actually the spin came on the front stretch too, so that's crazy. Briscoe would stay out here. Elliott, Bowman, and Larson the first three off pit road. We get the restart going. Bowman gets in the wall a little bit. I think he would end up having to pit after that and would fall a couple laps down. And then a little bit later, Larson accidentally puts Elliott in the wall. Elliott reports his right rear broke again. Suarez, running P5 a little bit later, gets in the wall a little bit. McDowell reporting a mechanical issue. And with about 9 or 10 laps to go, then Chase Elliott spun. Now, did he spin to fuck over Larson? Spin gate 2.0? I don't know. I kind of don't think so. Because, like, if you watched the car as he drove it on the apron after he got back together, that rear end was wobbly as fuck. It might have been whatever the hell broke before, and that got broken again from when he got put in the wall. Larson, of course, apologized. Elliott was pissed. Shit happens. This would be the caution to tie the Cup Series track record for Auto Club at 12, and McDowell would be slow getting onto pit road with his previously reported issues, and he would go to the garage. So this would be the final restart of the race with about 4 laps to go, and it was mayhem. So Larson leads him down to the line, obviously. Suarez ended up second off pit road, which was huge for him. We come around, Larson's in the lead, but Erik Jones gives Suarez some help on the front stretch, and Suarez is able to take the lead through turns 1 and 2 with 3 laps to go. And then with 2 laps to go coming, to the line, Larson gets a run, gets back around him. Suarez follows him down to the bottom, and that might have been his downfall because he wasn't able to keep, he kept up, obviously, but he wasn't able to get back to Larson. Austin Dillon would take second through turns 1 and 2, and then we get the white flag. As everybody's going by, Justin Haley gets sent for a ride through the grass. He hits the inside, obviously slowing down in the process. He hits the inside, pit road wall. The inside wall outside of pit road. You get my point. But he gets it back together. No caution. They run it back, and Larson's able to hold off Austin Dillon for the victory, his first of the season. Dillon grabbing second. I think Hemric finished 9th. I believe Suarez finished 4th. I think Jones was 3rd. Just a crazy finish. Obviously, Larson getting the win is the big part of it, but to see some of these other guys finish in the top 5 and 10 is crazy. In a race like this that sees a bunch of bigger names have issues and finish towards the back in the 20s and 30s, while some of these other guys that you wouldn't expect to be up near the front, finishing up near the front. 1, parity, that is awesome, and 2, you can't write a better story than that, man. That is crazy. I would have loved to have seen Suarez win. I wanted Reddick to win, and that's another thing to note. Tyler Reddick, he ran a great race today. I almost picked him for this race. I ended up going with Kyle Busch, but I almost picked Reddick in the preseason for this race due to how good he is on these, 1.5-mile, 2-mile tracks. Think like Homestead, for example. If he doesn't have that flat tire, which then doesn't lead to Byron getting into him, depending on what happens, I think he still has a shot to win this thing. It just sucks when that tire went out, because I think he was going into like turn 1 or something. So that's what made it even worse. Excuse me. But once again, great race, and it shows that you absolutely should not turn Auto Club into a short track. And if they still go along with that idea, the track owners and whatnot, you're fucking stupid. That's all I'm going to say. You're fucking stupid. So, with all of that being said, congrats to Kyle Larson on the win. Hope y'all enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts down below. Please make sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on future uploads. Make sure to use code ANJJ for free shipping on orders of $20 or more at Circle B Diecast. Also, make sure you use the link down below for Steve Lavender's Random Fantasy Picks if you have Twitter. And I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.